Welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking the ultimate step-by-step guide to saving water, time, and, let's be honest, money in your garden. Whether you're just managing a few raised beds out back or you're landscaping a massive property, efficiency is totally the name of the game.
Imagine reducing your water bill by half and contributing to global sustainability just by optimizing how you water your plants. Dive in if you're ready to revolutionize your irrigation methods. We're going to look at the hard data and the actual engineering behind irrigation to give you real, practical value that you can implement right away to level up whatever setup you've currently got.
So, here's our roadmap. We'll start with the water conservation imperative, then move on to smart watering techniques and essential irrigation technology. After that, we'll cover common mistakes to avoid, harvesting alternative water sources, and finally, looking at the bigger picture.
All right, part one. The water conservation imperative, why every drop really does count. To understand why garden-level conservation is such a huge deal, we kind of have to zoom out and look at the macro level first.
I mean, it looks like we live on this endless blue planet with abundant resources, right? But the reality is actually staggering. Literally only 3% of Earth's water is fresh. That's it. The other 97%? Salt water. And here's the real kicker. Over the next 50 years, the global population is expected to grow by another 40%. That means consumption is going to completely skyrocket. So conserving that tiny 3% is absolutely critical for our survival.
But let's bring that global crisis right down to your personal wallet. 23 liters. That is the amount of water a single dripping tap, we're talking just 1 drop per second, can waste in a single day. Now scale that kind of inefficiency up to a poorly managed garden irrigation system, you are literally pouring your hard-earned money right down the drain.
Okay, moving on to part two, smart watering techniques. This is all about maximizing growth while minimizing waste. Let's get down to the garden level and explore the core techniques of efficient irrigation, right where agronomical science meets your backyard. So there are golden rules for when you should water. You always want to aim for early in the morning, think between 5 and 9 a.m., or in the evening, anytime after 7 p.m. If you water right at noon, during peak solar radiation and the highest temperatures of the day, you're losing a massive amount of water to instant evaporation before it even has a chance to reach the roots.
The next technique is absolutely crucial: deep and infrequent watering. You really need to soak that soil 15 to 20 centimeters deep. Why? Well, frequent shallow watering only dampens the very surface, and that actually tricks your plants into developing weak surface-level roots that'll quickly die off the second there's a drought. By watering deeply, you're forcing those roots to grow downward into the cooler, moist layers of soil. There's actually this ancient planting technique called puddling in. You dig a hole, fill it completely with water, let it drain out, and then fill it again before you even add the plant. It basically guarantees this amazing deep moisture reserve.
Now, if we look at the thermodynamic properties of mulches, we see it acts like a giant protective blanket. It stops water from rising to the surface and cuts evaporation by almost 60%. Hemp is the absolute champion here, retaining about 80% moisture and providing incredible insulation. Though, yeah, it definitely comes at a premium price. Grass clippings, on the other hand, are a fantastic free alternative. They hold about 73% moisture and actually add nitrogen as they break down. Just, make sure they don't have seeds in them. Bark is great for perennial shrubs since it allows for good water infiltration. But take a look at gravel. 0% retention. It literally repels water and absorbs heat, which can overheat your soil and increase plant transpiration. So definitely pick your mulch wisely.
Let's pivot to part 3. Essential irrigation technology. Working smarter, not harder. We're shifting from manual techniques to the tech that basically takes human error completely out of the equation. Drip irrigation is hands down the gold standard in modern landscaping. When we look at efficiency, which is the percentage of water that actually gets used by the plant, drip systems hit up to 95%. Sprinklers, they hover around 60 to 80% because they lose so much water to wind drift and evaporation. And surface flooding is just the worst. It bottoms out between 40 to 70% efficiency, plus it compacts your soil and leaches out nutrients. Drip irrigation wins every time because it delivers water slowly, literally drop by drop, right into the root zone.
But remember, a drip line is only as smart as the brain running it. Automating your system with smart tools is a total game changer. Smart irrigation controllers, when you combine them with soil moisture sensors, tell your system exactly when the ground is actually dry. Adding a rain sensor is also one of the easiest wins out there. It literally interrupts your watering schedule if a downpour happens, so you never accidentally run your system during a thunderstorm. Pair all that with high-quality, multi-season, thick-walled hoses, and you've got yourself a nearly autonomous, highly efficient setup.
Ray, let's jump to part 4. Common mistakes to avoid. The pitfalls in the garden. Look, a crucial part of all this is knowing what not to do. Because even with the absolute best tech, our human habits can still get in the way. Let's look at some frequent errors.
A super common mistake, especially when you're using manual hoses or badly placed sprinklers, is watering the leaves. Watering the foliage, particularly on vegetable crops, just wastes water to the wind and rapid evaporation. And worse, it creates this damp environment on the leaves that aggressively invites fungal diseases. You should always water the roots. That is literally the only place the plant can drink from. Oh, and keep an eye on weeds. They act like these little biological pumps that steal water directly from the root zone of your crops, so make sure you weed regularly.
Moving on to part 5, harvesting alternative water sources, tapping into nature. Let's zoom out a bit and look at alternative sources that can further cut down our reliance on the municipal tap. This is a huge step in sustainable engineering.
Check out this stat. By collecting rainwater from your roof using specialized catchment systems, you can save up to 50% of your household tap water. And in commercial or industrial settings, that number can reach a staggering 85%.
But rainwater isn't just about saving money on your utility bills, though hey, it definitely does that. Plants actually prefer it. Rainwater is naturally soft and completely free from the chlorine and harsh chemical salts you'll find in city tap water. Plus, processing and pumping municipal water is incredibly energy intensive. By catching rain right on your site, you're actively reducing your personal carbon footprint while protecting local groundwater levels. And finally, part 6, the bigger picture, putting it all together. Let's wrap this up and see how all these pieces build into a smart, sustainable garden plan that you can implement right away.
Here is your actionable checklist. First, zone your garden by water needs. This is a smart engineering strategy known as hydrozoning. When you group plants with similar thirst levels, it means you're never overwatering one plant just to keep its neighbor alive. Second, choose drought-resistant local plants, and seriously consider downsizing those high-maintenance grass lawns. Maybe swap them out for something like clover. Third, lay down those highly efficient drip lines we talked about. And finally, cap the whole thing off with a thick layer of organic mulch to trap all that precious moisture in.
Now, before you go out there and start digging trenches, just a quick reminder, every piece of land is completely unique. You always need to assess your specific local climate, the water holding capacity of your soil, and hey, don't hesitate to consult with an irrigation professional or a landscape architect to tailor these systems perfectly to your unique setup.
So, I'm going to leave you with this. Are you ready to revolutionize your watering habits and protect our planet's precious 3% of fresh water? Every single drop you save in your backyard contributes directly to global sustainability. Take these steps, install that smart sensor, spread that mulch, and watch your garden and your water bill completely transform. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and happy, efficient watering.